Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. For this week's video, I thought I would do a get ready with me, get to know me kind of video. A get ready to get to know me, if you will. I already have 2 videos on my channel already, but I haven't done a proper introduction, so I thought now would be the best time. Let's jump right in. I have everything here. I have my makeup bag, brushes, moisturizer, and then if you guys see me looking over in this direction, I do have a list of things I want to make sure that I cover. So let's start with moisturizing my face first and addressing the basic information, like my name, if you didn't already know, is Brooke Correll. I'm 22 years old. My birthday is on April 14th, 2003. I grew up in Pennsylvania in a town called Allentown. If anyone watching knows where that is, I was in the Parkland School District. I actually have dyslexia, and so I was in the Parkland School District for elementary school, but during Christmas break of my 5th grade year, I was transferred to a private school for kids with learning disabilities. I used to be ashamed to admit that I was a part of a learning disability school, but I've come around to realize that that's a part of my story, so that's nothing to be ashamed about. And I do have dyslexia, so going to a school that would teach me to learn how to learn with dyslexia was so important, and it really did help me out a lot. I was in that private school from Christmas break of 5th grade all the way until 7th grade. And then in 8th grade, my sister and I were transferred into an online school. I have an identical twin sister. I'll get into family stuff a little bit later, but we were in the same classes, so both of us transferred over. It was definitely a learning curve going from public schooling to private to then being at home alone with just a computer, but we fell in love with it. During our 8th grade year, we had a mental breakdown though, because we were like, college is right around the corner. We have no idea what we want to go for. So that November, we did a tour at our local technical high school. If you don't know how a technical high school works, basically like a regular high school, you have your core classes and electives. So instead of taking electives, you would go to a technical high school and take technical courses like plumbing, cosmetology, dentistry, or you could go to the technical high school full time and do your core and technical classes all on campus. So that November, my sister and I did a tour of the dental class and we fell in love with it. So we had to end up switching homeschools. We were enrolled in Commonwealth Charter Academy, but that school doesn't allow you to do the technical high school, so we switched to Pennsylvania Cyber Charter School to be able to do our dental class, except we didn't get in. And for the beginning of our freshman year, we were in supply chain management. Yes, you heard that right, we were packing boxes. That was the only course that had an opening, and we just wanted to get into the school because we thought getting in and transferring would be a little bit easier than waiting for a call back. November of our freshman year, we went to the open house for the dental class and we begged and pleaded the teacher to let us come, make a spot open. Like we were like, wave your magic wand and get us into this class. And she was like, I have 2 spots open in the morning. We said, we'll take them. And so we had to transfer all of our core classes that we were taking in the morning to afternoon. So we switched all of our teachers and classes, which was kind of a lot. But we really wanted to get into this dental class. And we were, sorry, my mirror's over here. My list is over here, so if you see me looking. We were in the dental class from freshman year all the way until our senior year. How it worked was every year was a level. So freshman was level 1, senior was level 4. And so we started the year as a level 1 learning basic dentistry. We did start our level 1 year in December. Like I said, we didn't get in until after that open house in November. So it was kind of annoying because everyone already had their friends and study groups. But I'm just glad I had my twin sister with me because I was able to lean on her a lot. Anyways, so we continued through our dental classes and regular classes like normal. And how it worked was level 1 was basic dentistry, level 2 was radiology, level 3 was a little bit more like procedural type learning, and level 4 was either orthodontia or you could go into co-op. Co-op was basically, instead of even going to school, you would just go to work. So you had the opportunity to start working in an office as a senior, which I always wanted to do because a lot of people said that you didn't really know if you liked dentistry or anything like that until you start working there, because learning is different than actually doing the job. So COVID hit during my junior year, but I did get a job towards the middle/end of summertime when things started to open up a little bit more. And I started working at a dental office. Sorry, my thing is almost empty, so I have to like smash it into my head. I started working at a dental office. A girl that I went to dental school with was actually working there, but she was starting college in 3 weeks. So I was being trained to take over her position. I honestly hated what I was doing. I was a sterilization technician, and I basically was just cleaning instruments, which I already knew how to do. So I kind of fell behind because all of my friends were in co-ops that they were actually doing procedures and stuff. So a close friend of mine ended up reaching out to me and saying, hey, like where I work, she wasn't in a co-op because she was graduated, but she was like, hey, where I work, we're hiring, like, do you want to come and get an interview? You can get paid $20 an hour and $100 just to get an interview. And I was like, $20 an hour? Yes. So I went to my interview. It was like 4 hours long. I got paid the $100 though. The interview was long. I also stayed and ate lunch with the girls. And honestly, it was just something so new and exciting. So I decided I wanted to take the job. 2 days before that girl that I was working with was going to college. Remember, I was being trained to take over her position. 2 days before, I was like, hey guys, I quit. Honestly, looking back, that was probably not the most professional thing to do, but that's what I did. The boss's wife was so mad at me. She quite literally kicked me out the door. When that happened, I was kind of just laughing because I was like, this is gonna be something I'm gonna laugh about the rest of my life. But I need to do what's best for me, and this job pays so much and I can actually be a technical assistant. Like, I have to take it. The Monday after that, I started at my new job. This was an orthodontic job, so something different, and I was so excited to start it. Honestly, it was a really fun place to work. The uniforms were kind of crazy, and not all the girls were the nicest. If you're watching this, you know who you are. But 3 months after I started, my identical twin sister Paige followed me, and we were working together, which was so much fun. We were able to like gossip and complain to one another about the girls or the bosses or just the job in general, which is really fun. Sometimes you need to vent, okay? Anyways, I was at that job for, I think, like maybe 2 years, maybe under 2 years, a little while, I should say. And I was moved around the practice quite a lot to different positions, and I ended up starting to hate work. Something happened and I was just like, I need to quit this job. I was moved to a different location, I guess I could say. And yeah, I just hated it. I wanted to quit because I wanted to go back to being a technical position. I was moved to the front desk, and the boss basically said to me, like, you need to write me a 3-page paper as to why you should be in a technical position. And I was like, because I went to technical school. I did not go to front desk school. I went to technical school. It's called a technical institution. I want to do technical work, not push papers all day. So I don't know, when your boss tells you to write a 3-page paper, that is so disrespectful. So I said, I quit. And then I had no job. I was living with my now husband, but boyfriend at the time, and his mom. And his mom basically said, like, listen, you can't live with us if you're doing nothing. You need to either get a job or be in college. So that's what I did. I enrolled in college classes. I wanted to go to school to be a dental hygienist. My first semester in college, I only did 1 class, only because I was scared I was gonna get overwhelmed. So 1 class, and then the following semester, I was doing a full load, I think like 4 or 5 classes. I had the worst professors, so I withdrew from college. And once again, I was doing nothing, no job, no school, but I checked my Instagram DMs, and a close friend of mine had messaged me saying, hey, I saw that you don't work at doctor's office, the orthodontist, anymore, and I was wondering if you wanted to come and get an interview at the office I work at, another orthodontic office. So I said yes, because I'm not doing school anymore, I need something to do. Okay, I changed the angle a little bit. So when I went for an interview at this new orthodontic office, it was so funny because every single girl, except for maybe 3 or 4 of them, all had worked at that first orthodontist office. And I didn't mention before, but the first orthodontist office was kind of crazy. We had to wear like Lands' End button-down shirts. It was a requirement to wear white granny panties and knee-high socks. We looked like candy shop workers. The bosses had specifications about makeup and hair and nails and like just presentation. They were hiring like 13-year-old girls to do sterilization. It was just a really weird business. And so it was so much fun to be able to work at this new office with all these girls that knew the psycho office I worked at before and like how things ran, because we had a lot in common with trauma that we went through there. I'm kind of being dramatic. It was just fun to know that all these girls knew what that was like. Anyways, so I took the job at that new office and I loved it. All the girls were so nice. The boss was a lot better than my first 2 bosses, and I really was just loving it. So I was working at this new job for a little while, and just like my first orthodontist job, I was being moved around the office a lot, but this new job, it was a little bit more like, hey, do you mind moving over here or here? Whereas the first job, it was like, you have to go here. You know, with my new ortho job, I really didn't mind being moved around because I kind of always knew I was never never going to work there that long. I know that sounds weird to say, but I kind of just knew that my life didn't consist of me working somewhere for 30 years. So something happened actually, and that's why I don't work there anymore. The orthodontist that I worked for had a really weird reaction to something. I can't even believe I'm saying this. He just had a weird reaction to something, and it kind of just like became clear to me that I don't want to work here anymore. It wasn't anything bad. Honestly, I was being over dramatic, but because of that reaction, I got in touch with a realtor, booked a flight, came down to Florida, toured a house, decided which one I wanted right away, and we bought it. I actually told everyone I worked with that I moved to Florida because of my husband's job, which is technically true, but the reason we moved so quickly was because of my old boss. If you're watching this, it was mostly me. I was the one who was like, I don't like what you did. Oh my goodness. So I want to move away. Oh my gosh, what the heck am I saying? So anyways, our home was a new build and it wasn't going to be finished for 7 months. But halfway through that process, our realtor let me know that now would be an applicable time to tell my boss that I'm moving away, just because you don't own the house until you close, and that was like 5 months away. So I asked her like, hey, when's a good time that I can tell my boss that I'm leaving? It was just like my first dental job. I was just recently moved to a new position where I would have to be training to take over a position because a girl was leaving, just like my first job. And I had to tell them like, hey, I know I'm starting to train for this new position, but I'm moving in 5 months. And of course, he was so understanding. Anyways, 5 months later, I actually had to tell him, hey, my last day needs to be moved up a week because my mom wants to take me on a bachelorette trip to Punta Cana and I have to go because duh. And again, he was so understanding and nice. And so I think my last day was September 19th, 2023. I go to Punta Cana and then I come home, and then a couple days later I marry my now husband, Ryan. I was honestly so nervous to go to Punta Cana right before my wedding. I was scared the plane was gonna like fall out of the sky and I would never make it to my wedding, but everything was fine there. So I got married to my husband, Ryan, on October 1st, 2023. And then 2 weeks after that, we closed on our home. And then 3 days later, we drove 16 hours through the night, no stopping, and made it to Florida. By we, I mean my husband. I did not drive at all. We did no stops. We got here, we were running off of no sleep, and we had so much adrenaline because we were so excited to move here that we moved all of our furniture in right away. It was so much fun. That kind of just brings you guys up to speed with where I am now. I live in Florida, and my husband's name is Ryan. But let's get a little bit deeper. So like I said earlier, I grew up in Allentown, Pennsylvania. I have 3 sisters. Caroline is the oldest sister, and then my sister Morgan, and my identical twin sister Paige. Caroline has a husband named Tyler, and I have a niece and nephew named Madison and Brantley from her previous relationship, and with her husband Tyler, they have a daughter named Oakley. So I have 3 nieces and nephews, and her husband's name is Tyler. I don't know if I said that. My sister Morgan is married to her husband Christian. I am Brooke, married to my husband Ryan. And then my twin sister Paige has her husband Nathan. My parents, Monica and Eric, are actually divorced, and my dad has a girlfriend named Pamela, and my mom is remarried to her husband Kent. It's kind of funny where we all live. So me and my sister Morgan live here in the Tampa, Florida area. My mom and her husband live in Clearwater. My dad lives in Orlando, and my sister Paige and my sister Caroline live up in Pennsylvania still. So we're all kind of all over the place. My husband Ryan works for my sister's husband, Morgan, her husband Christian, his company. So that is why we moved here, I guess. But it was mostly so quick because I just didn't want to work anymore. I didn't want to work at my current job anymore. Let me be specific. So when I quit my old job, went to Punta Cana, got married and moved here, my husband and I decided that me working just wouldn't work for our relationship and our lifestyle. So I actually don't work. I'm considered a stay-at-home wife, which is the best thing in the world. My sister Morgan is also a stay-at-home wife, so we mostly spend our days together, which is always so much fun. And like I said, my husband works for her husband's company, and he does project management for their fiber optics company. My sister Paige still works at that orthodontist office, the second one. She worked at the first one with me and the second one. She was always following me, kind of crazy, and I'm hoping she'll move down to Florida soon because she's my twin sister and I want her to live near me. My mom is a flight attendant, so I do get free flights here and there, or I guess the right term would be a buddy pass. A quick little background about me and my husband. We met when I was 15 years old. We met because a friend of mine posted a photo of me on Snapchat and he slid up and was like, who is this cutie? Which is so cringy now looking back at it. But that is how we met. We went on our first date and he made me pay for my half, which was definitely a red flag. But we got along really well. We had really good conversation. So we kept hanging out and eventually became boyfriend and girlfriend. And I know it's kind of cliche, but we are totally the saying of when you know, you know. We kind of always knew that we were gonna get married, and it was funny because I would talk about this a lot because I just knew that I was gonna get married to him. And actually at that psycho orthodontist office, I remember telling a girl about that, and she told me to my face, well, I said the same about me and my high school boyfriend, and I don't even know what he's doing now. And I remember the day I got engaged, I thought back to that girl and her comment, and I wanted to like text her and be like, hey, by the way, you see that? Do you see it? Yeah, I'm not like you and your high school boyfriend. Anyways, my husband's dad ended up passing away in December of 2021. And because of that, he got clarity that he didn't want to wait any longer to get engaged. So 6 months later in June, he ended up proposing to me in the Grand Canyon. And then, like I said before, we got married on October 1st, 2023. Some fun facts about me. I grew up playing basketball, if you could believe it, for like 10 years actually. And I don't know how to play basketball at all. Honestly, I don't even know how I was able to play for that long because I am not good at it. When I was 16, I got my first ever job at the grocery store. But when I was younger, my dream job was always to work at a movie theater. I am a cat lover. I love watching movie and TV shows. I love to see what's new. I also love reality TV, like love reality TV. I love health and fitness. I actually weightlift like almost every single day. And I've lost 15 pounds from weightlifting and being in a calorie deficit. So I feel like I look, and I also do feel, so much better than I used to. I was born with a precancerous spot on my head, so I did have to get head surgery in 5th grade, which was kind of crazy because my identical twin sister Paige told me that during my surgery, she could feel like tingling on her head where my spot was, which who knows if she was just being dramatic, but I was like, what? I was very gullible because I think that was a lie. My family and I were all super close. We text and call each other all day, every day, and I wouldn't have it any other way. We do bicker and fight like any other family, but I love all of them dearly. More fun facts, my biggest dream and aspiration in life is to become a mom. I always tell everyone, you will never meet someone who is more excited about having kids and being a mom than me. And before you say like, oh, I was the same way, no, you weren't. Like, I literally am mad that I don't get to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and take care of my crying baby. But my husband and I talk about it all the time, how much I'm ready to have kids, and hopefully that'll be coming in our future. It is like literally all I dream about and think about like most of my day. I just want to have a baby. He's gonna watch this and think I'm crazy. My favorite state is Arizona. I love the agriculture out there. So it would be a dream of mine, you could say, to live out there one day. Who knows if that would ever happen. I've only traveled out of the country to Canada, Mexico, and the Dominican Republic. I haven't been anywhere else yet, so I'm really excited to see where I'll end up traveling to in my future. Japan is like my #1 place that I want to go to, that or South Korea. I'm so excited that I started this YouTube channel when I did because I think it's so exciting that I'm gonna be able to document those super exciting points in my life, like taking my first pregnancy test, my ultrasounds, babies' birthdays, moving, that kind of stuff. But mostly the pregnancy test is what I'm looking forward to. Okay, I need to stop. That is a little bit about me and my childhood, my jobs, my now no longer job, my marriage, my siblings, all the good things. I'm so happy we got to get ready together. This is my makeup look. I am going to play pickleball later, so I didn't want to do anything too crazy. But of course, I still had to add the winged eyeliner. I hope you guys had fun getting to know me a little bit better. If you have any questions, please comment them down below. I was kind of jumping all over the place with this video. I'm new, what did you expect? Anyways, I love you guys so much. If you did enjoy this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe down below. I'll see you next week. Bye! Oh, she's looking good.